students from Sahaja College of Engineering and Technology. So here with an interview as a part of Biomed 360. Biomed 360 is a campaign which dealing with medical equipment by a group of aspiring engineering students.
Here we have Mr. Sanu Balakrishna working as Senior Engineer at Critical Care and Radiotherapy in Taiba Medcare LLC, Oman, to give us an insight on life-saving medical equipment, ventilator. So let's get started.
To one and all, I am Shandy Xavier and
I am Sujisha Suresh.
we are conducting this session as a part of Biomed 360 campaign. Our ultimate aim of this campaign is to make awareness about the medical equipment to common people. And on auspicious day, we have a special guest, Sanu Balakrishnan, who is working as service engineer at Taiba Medserve Muscat, Oman. He has a work experience of about 16 years. We are really honored to welcome you, sir.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to have you, to be with you all. And anyway, let's get started.
So let's begin our section. We have a few questions for you, sir, based on ventilators. Moving on to the first question, why calibration is done in ventilators? What equipments are used for this purpose and how often it is done, and what all are the parameters look into while calibrating?
Calibration, as you all know, it's like we are comparing our equipment with a non-standard, or we are just making sure that everything is working as per manufacturer recommendation and specification. As a life-saving equipment, calibration is of very much importance in ventilator, not only in ventilator, in all the medical equipment. And we are doing calibration as a part of preventive service or after any breakdown repairs. It depends which type of calibration you are performing on a machine. For calibration, usually for the medical equipment, for the ventilators, for the newer models, very few external calibration tools are used. Because as you know, most of the newer generation medical equipment, those are software based and they have programmable chips which is placed inside. So most of the machines nowadays are self-calibrated, or whenever you do a calibration constant is saved to the non-volatile memory of the machine, and which can be used as a calibration constant for the next calibration. So with the advancement in medical equipment, to be frank, we are making for my medical equipment, I'm not using any kind of external calibration equipment. What kind of equipment are used, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So usually for ventilator, our main parameters are flow, pressure, and volume. So mainly the calibration equipment used for the ventilators are measurement of pressure and flow, especially like if in like a calibration of ventilator, it means pressure calibration, flow, and we are just comparing the volume, which is the tidal volume in our case. And in older model ventilators, you can say that you need to adjust a lot of solenoid valves and pressure sensors. But nowadays, most of the pressure and flow sensors are factory calibrated. You cannot do anything much on the field.
So what all are the parameters looked into while calibrating?
Yes. See, as I told you, for any calibration, we have known values, which is recommended by the manufacturer. So in the case of ventilator, it is related to pressure, flow, and volume.
So how are the changes rectified during calibration?
If any of the parameters are not matching with the manufacturer recommendation or specification, it depends. Like if it's any kind of solenoid valve which can be adjusted, or if it's a pressure regulator or a flow transducer which can be adjusted on site, we are doing that. If it is not, sometimes the whole board needs to be replaced if the values are not matching with the calibration values. So it depends what type of medical equipment you are using and In my case, the for the ventilator, when you're specific on the ventilator, which model, and it depends on the manufacturing period of the medical equipment. For the newer models, there's nothing much to do. You need to replace the board itself. But for older models, you can really play with the solenoid valves a lot.
What are the common breakdown and complaints encountered, and what are the steps to take and rectify it? How often does it occur?
Okay. The common problems in ventilator, what I have faced in my experience is most of them are related to usage related complaints. But I'm not saying that end users are making this machine complaint, because unlike any other medical equipment, once the ventilator is connected to the patient, it will be working for months. We have some machines here in Muscat which is being worked for 2 or 3 months with the same patient. So there is very much possibility that during the working, some user related complaints, user related errors could emerge, especially like inputting a wrong parameter, or the circuit related errors. For the ventilator, we are connecting the patient circuit with the machine. So over the use of time, there might be water content, or as it's a long tube, there might be some kind of kinking or leakage in the tubes, which all will trigger some kind of error. And in my experience, there are very few errors happened which is related with the machine faults. Before you connect the ventilator to the patient, most of the newer generation machines will undergo a self-testing. And during that time itself, you will come to know which part is failing, or if there is any error, which part it is related to. But most commonly, we can say that for the ventilator, as it is dealing with air and oxygen, I mean mixture of gases, and as it is delivering pressure and flow to the patient, the most common errors, it's related to the leakage, or when you are not getting the set value. These are the most common kind of errors which you can encounter in a ventilator.
Which parts of the ventilator are often replaced?
Uh, See, for any ventilator, there are a lot of consumables which has to be replaced part of annual preventive service, or if you do any breakdown repair, which includes a lot of filters, because as I told, this is all about gases, air and oxygen. So for us, for our ventilator, when we do any kind of service, we are usually replacing the gas filters. Then there are transducers, depends on the model or manufacturer of the ventilator. The common space I'm saying, there could be gas filters, transducers, valves. These are the most common parts which we have to replace after every service or during every PM.
So, which sensors are more prone to complaints?
Uh, for the ventilator, I would say the external sensors, because it is exposed to the environment, and it is exposed to outside world. Those are flow sensors. I must say that flow sensors are the most common sensor to fail on any ventilator, because as I said, water content in the circuit or any kinking of tube, this will all cause damage to the flow sensor. And most of the machine, in most of the, even with the newer machines, you need to replace flow sensor in every interval of time. Then the next thing, it could be the pressure sensors, pressure transducers, which is inside the machine. This could happen due to normal wear and tear, or due to any changes in the supply, hospital gas supply pressure. So in that case, we need to replace some pressure sensors as well.
What is the ideal lifetime of a ventilator?
We cannot simply say that a n number of years. It depends how well the machine is maintained, or how well the service support is provided, how the spares are available, and how often the machine is used. Uh, for example, the oldest ventilator which I have here in Oman is like 16 or 17 years old. It is still working fine. We still have service support for that machine. At the same time, while I was working in hospital, I have seen the machines which are condemned after 2 or 3 years of use. Uh, but for understanding the ideal lifetime of a ventilator, it would be better uh, to compare the maintenance cost and the purchase cost of the machine. Like if you are spending more money to maintain, it's probably the time to replace the machine.
As a service engineer, how often you go for a personal maintenance of a ventilator, and what are the steps involved in checklist during the procedure?
Okay, for my equipment, I have a specific time period which is mentioned in the service manual, which is every 6 months or 5,000 hours of use. Uh, I would say during this COVID time, I'm not personally doing any PPMs because, first of all, it's very much difficult to get the machine which is connected to a critical patient, and there is high risk of exposure. Apart from that, I would go on every 6 months for the preventive maintenance, and we have a specific checklist based on the hours or time. As I said, for us it is 5,000 hours. When the machine has done 5,000 hours, we have to do so and so checks, which includes inspection of some part, replacement of some part, and changes, I mean software upgradations, or changing some values in the machine software all. And if it is just a normal service after 6 months, we have a specific checklist. We just go and inspect the machine, clean the filters, put it back, and there is very few filters or valves which needs to be replaced. So it depends on the manufacturer guidelines. At the same time, there are some hospitals as well. They have implemented their own preventive maintenance policy. Like here in Oman, if I go to some hospitals, after I do any kind of maintenance or breakdown repair, I have to do an electrical safety testing, which is as per the hospital standards. So in general, I can say that it depends on manufacturer recommendation and hospital implemented standards.
As a last question, what are the suggestions and advices you would like to share with Biomet 360 volunteers?
First of all, you have done a really good job, because for conducting this kind of interview, and of course, thanks for inviting me as well. And the suggestions include, see, there's going to be a big difference what you learn from college and what you are going to face once you leave your academic courses, whatever it is. There is a lot of things. You will get some theories now, and in future you're going to gain a lot of knowledge and experience. So your success depends on how you are linking your knowledge with your experience.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable information shared and for spending your time with us. It's really an honor to have a person like you. We would like to thank you on behalf of the entire team of Biomet 360, and all the best for your future ahead. It's me, Shandy, and Sujisha signing off. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much. Thank you. Thank you.